Today's guest is a founder and the CEO of Blokes. Blokes is a telehealth company dedicated to men's health. It helps men to deal with a variety of issues like weight loss, muscle improvement, yeah, whatever we want to call it, gut health, and more from the comfort of their home. Welcome to the show, Josh. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you for having me, Toby.
I'm so grateful for you spending this time right now to have this conversation with me. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Mirror Talk. I would love to learn from your story. I would love to learn from how you started this whole blogs company. Like, can you share a little bit from your life and career journey so far, leading you to starting blogs as a company?
Yeah, sure. So I've been in healthcare for about 14 years. I got my start with a large medical device company called Stryker, focused on orthopedic and spine implants. And then I've been an entrepreneur for the last nine. And this is our newest venture, telehealth based platform focused on testosterone optimization for men and women, i.e., hormone replacement, prescription peptide therapy, prescription weight loss, diagnostic labs. Basically, everything we do, we focus on optimization and doing at the confines and the comfort of your home. So it's a fun business to be in, and I think telehealth is the future of medicine in many ways, and it's been a fun ride so far.
Oh, that's so awesome. And what are some of the products and services that you offer to men out there?
Yeah, the men, a big thing that we do is hormone optimization. So, testosterone therapy. Testosterone's a very important hormone that is in men and women. That's probably one of our biggest. And then we do a lot with peptide therapy that can focus on gut health, inflammation, sexual health, growth hormone, brain health, brain fog, all kinds of good stuff.
Yes, I'd love you to enlighten us a little bit on this peptide therapy that you do. Like, is it? Can you explain the procedure, or the process, how it works to us, so we can have a better understanding about it?
Yeah. Yeah. So like hormones, peptides are flowing through our body naturally. We have, roughly 7,000 peptides in our body.
Mm,
Some of the most common peptides is one everybody's heard of is insulin. So it's been around for
mm,
many, many years. There are FDA approved peptides. There are some peptides that are just compounded in pharmacies. Um,
mm,
but all they are is a chain of amino acids and the stepping stones for proteins. They're really, really easy to administer. I call peptides kind of a high reward, low risk type therapy that focuses on things specifically in the body. So it's a phenomenal therapy for our patients.
So when a patient comes to you and wants to have this peptide therapy done, afterwards they could get rid of this clock, for example, or
Sure.
they able to focus properly, or maybe concentrate better at work and become much more motivated in their activities or things they do. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot
Mm,
of patients that we come to are just trying to feel better,
mm,
just with everyday life. Some have specific and really focused goals. Some
mm,
are symptomatic, meaning they are suffering in some categories in some areas, and
yeah.
and we do our best to help them and optimize them in that journey.
That's good. That's wonderful. And earlier you made mention of hormone optimization also. So I just want to know, like, at what point in a man's life does he need hormone optimization? What are the signs that a man will
Yeah.
feel that will make him say, yes, I need hormone optimization right now? And what do you do to help in this area?
It's a good question, and there's not an exact answer. Everybody ages differently. What we tend to see is men who hit that 30 to 35-year-old mark is when they start seeing their cellular activity decline. So they might start feeling symptoms at that age point. Some men feel it earlier, some men feel it later. Really, it's just a personal journey. I mean, a lot of it depends on genetics. A lot of it depends on how healthy you are as an individual, your lifestyle, your stress and work-life balance, because a lot of those things can play a role in one's hormones. And then there's things that you sometimes can't control, like environmental factors. What we know, though, is that biological clock starts to decline around that 30 to 35-year-old mark in both men and women.
Okay. And with hormone optimization from blogs, they're able to improve their hormone, get a better libido, and become much more
Yeah,
active.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, some common symptoms for men is less sex drive, brain fog, um,
Mm.
belly fat if you're not really working out a lot. So those are common things that you can really look out for. Um, that are physical symptoms that are easy to spot out.
Oh, okay. And does blood like, offer some kind of medicine or some kind of therapy in order to, enhance these hormones or optimize these hormones, or what does blood does?
Yeah, still the gold standard right now is testosterone replacement. So
Mm.
we're gonna evaluate every patient based off of labs and symptoms.
Mm.
We diagnose, usually in combination of those two. Some guys could have really optimal testosterone levels, but have really horrible symptoms, and vice versa. And still, the gold standard to actually increase testosterone levels is testosterone itself. So we use a
Yeah.
bioidentical testosterone replacement. We do everything that we typically do are injections,
Mm.
meaning subcutaneous injections. So it's a really small needle that we're injecting testosterone into, typically belly fat on a
Mm.
once or twice a week basis. And the same thing
Oh.
happens for women as well.
Oh, great. How does this work, in the telehealth space? Now you just said
Yeah,
you're going to inject them. Are you going to send this syringe and all that to them, through the
yeah,
post or a drone or
yeah.
whatever? How would they get it?
No, technology has made this pretty simple.
Mm.
We deliver through compounding pharmacies. Patients will get anywhere from a 10 to 12-week supply of their medication. That's going to
Mm.
arrive right at their doorstep. And that's going to have their medication, the products or devices to help you deliver those medications. Oftentimes, it's just needles. And then
Yeah.
we walk each patient through it with video consults, how to inject themselves. But the process is pretty simple. Even patients who are, for lack of words, terrified of needles, we usually are
Mm.
able to get them through it because we use such small diabetic style needles. We're talking, very, very skinny 31 gauge style needles that
Mm.
are relatively painless. And
Yeah.
a lot of patients don't even feel the actual injection itself. So, with consults and medical advice from our experts, we walk patients
Mm.
through this to be able to do it at home. So, what's nice about that is you can do it on your schedule. The only
Mm.
thing that we require is that if you're on any type of hormone optimization, that you're getting some type of labs, meaning blood labs. And
Mm.
that can range on an annual basis from anywhere from 5 to 7 or 8 blood draws, depending on the patient.
Yeah. Ah, okay. And then you offer this blood labs also for people, or
Yes.
do you have to do it somewhere else? Okay. Okay.
So
So
we work with some national lab groups, and then we are just starting to incorporate at-home lab testing.
mm.
That's really simple that you can do at home as well, and then that process is simple. It's shipped directly to the patient. The patient
Mm.
does the test, administers the test themselves, and then they ship it back via FedEx or UPS, depending on where they are. And those
Mm.
results usually take about 5 days.
Yeah. Ah, good. That's wonderful. So when people don't subscribe to your service, they are rest assured that they will get the right, prescriptions, get right
Yep.
therapy, and also the blood labs to, get the correct, blood values and everything that they need. Yeah, for
You
their
got
health.
it. Yeah, we work
So,
with CLIA and CAP certified labs, which
mm.
is the gold standard when it comes to diagnostic labs. And then
Yeah.
our team gets those results, interprets those results, looks and discuss with the patient in terms of what their goals and needs are, and then while also acknowledging what type of symptoms they have to make sure we're
Mm.
getting them that right medication.
Oh, that's good. Wow.
Yeah.
So, some might be out there right now thinking, yeah, Josh, this is so awesome. I would love to subscribe to blogs, but I want to know, like from you, from your experience, like what are some things that we can do personally to optimize our health so that we can have more energy, we can have that mental
Yeah.
clarity and that motivation that we need to pursue our, purpose and goals in life.
Yeah, so hormones are tough. They're challenging. Sometimes it's genetics, sometimes it's lifestyle. We
Mm.
we tell people ask us what patients do the best. It's patients that are willing to make change. They're willing to commit to a new lifestyle. Because just because we're injecting a patient with any one of our therapies doesn't mean we're going to get the best results if they continue to stay in that lifestyle. The motivating factor is this is going to help you get there quicker and you're going to feel it differently. It's maybe something that wasn't there. But there's so many things that you could do. Eat healthier, reduce your stress intake, sleep better. Recovery is a very, very big thing. Um,
Mm,
Lots of exercising that is, high interval, high impact type exercises, lots of legs that helps boost testosterone for men.
mm,
And then we tell our patients to do hot and cold showers if they don't have access to hot and cold therapy, because
yeah.
that's another thing that helps boost testosterone, it boosts exercise hormones, to really kind of get you motivated. But there's a lot of things you can do, but there's no true testosterone replacement if you're suffering outside of actually replacing it with testosterone therapy.
Hmm. Okay, that means once it gets to that point, one has to,
Yep.
optimize that hormone. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean it affects everybody differently, right? And some
Mm,
guys may go their whole life and not feel symptomatic, and some guys it may happen earlier. You just got to be on the lookout and be able to spot those symptoms, and know that there's solutions and there's therapies that can help you.
yeah. I love the fact that you earlier talked about, work-life balance also. That is very, very important for us. But as an entrepreneur that you are, you founded and you are the CEO of Blocks. From your experience, how do entrepreneurs, take care of themselves and at the same time, make sure that their visions, their goals, their ambitions, become reality also?
Yeah, I think work-life balance is a struggle for everyone.
Yeah.
I personally don't think there is a balance. I think it's managing expectations.
Mm,
If I'm gonna be an entrepreneur and I'm gonna work hard, I'm gonna suffer in another area. What
yeah.
I think we do a good job at, what I try to personally do for myself is have enough vitality to keep up with that pace.
Mm,
I have the balance hormones, to reduce my cortisol level, the stress hormone.
mm,
I try to practice what I preach and good recovery, and sleeping better, and working out. And if you're an entrepreneur and if you're constantly grinding, there something in your life is going to suffer if you're constantly doing that. But my
yeah.
advice to anybody who's in that position is find the escapes or the outlets to be able to keep up with that lifestyle, because you can't be an entrepreneur or a business executive and grind, grind, grind without having some type of release on the other side.
Mm. Yes. And you're talking about release. What's the best way of releasing? Like, how do you expect? How do you advise us to release? That
Yeah.
stress and the. Yeah.
I mean, I tell everybody to get outside in some capacity. I
Mm,
mean, vitamin sunshine is a good thing for you.
yeah.
Most people are deficient in vitamin D.
Mm,
Getting out and getting some type of movement. If you can't do that, get in a gym.
mm,
If you don't have a gym, do some push-ups, some squats, some full body exercises in your own house.
yeah.
By doing that, you're adjusting your hormones. You're releasing, some of that bad energy and that bad karma, and in turn you're increasing that energy, and just having a better outlook.
Mm. Oh, that's good. Yes. And sometimes we get so much stressed out, like you said, lacking that work-life balance, and we having that bad energy in us, and sometimes we don't have that enough time to release it to the extent that our immune system or our immune health suffers from
Right.
it. And I'm so happy that your company helps us to improve our guts and immune health also. And that's also a fact because sometimes when we are so stressed, we are unable to digest our food properly. Our gut system just messes up basically. So when people get to that point in their life where their gut is a mess and their immune system is also, or their immune health is not so good, how does block come into play to help them improve it back and bounce back to become good?
Yeah, I mean, there's therapies that we can, offer patients, that help directly with gut health and inflammation,
Mm,
but those are tough cases. I mean, those are not your slam dunks per se, right? I mean,
mm,
these are patients that require a lot of ongoing coaching, a
mm,
lot of ongoing lifestyle, tips, and holding these patients accountable. But we can do that through, goals and, incorporating labs and that one-on-one coaching. Because I think we have the therapies to help you, and I know we have the therapies to get you there faster, but you still got to make those changes. So those patients aren't easy, but we deal with them on a daily basis, and I know the therapies just help give them that edge.
Oh, that's good. Yes. That means, when one gets to that point in his or her life, one has that hope that his or her gut and immune health can, become better again. Yes. Even though
Yeah,
sorry, go
no,
ahead, please.
you're right. I mean, gut health is so important.
Mm,
And as we evolve in technology and healthcare and medicine, we're realizing how important the gut is. And we know that a lot of things such as autoimmune diseases can thrive and live in the gut. So
yeah.
you could be the healthiest person, but if you have a bad gut, a leaky gut, um,
Mm,
you're probably not as healthy as you think you are, and you're probably living a really inflamed lifestyle. And the
mm.
only way sometimes to be able to really do that is by taking a really good look under the hood, doing blood draws.
Yeah. Ah, good. Yes. And another way that we need help, and that blocks also helps also is, with our muscle as with our the building of our muscles, or weight loss also. So can
Hmm.
you advise us on how we could improve our muscles, for example, our muscle growth, and also some people that want to lose weight, for example, can we also
Right.
lose weight in a very healthy way?
Yeah. I mean, if it depends on who you are and where you're at in that journey, but every patient that we typically try to take down that pathology, we're running a pretty comprehensive blood test to at least perform that self audit to see where they're at. Um,
Mm,
if you're overweight, your hormones are probably off, and if you're underweight, your hormones could very likely be off as well. So we really
yeah.
really try to diagnose each patient based off of their lab results and their symptoms. But we do have therapies that help with that. We have prescription based therapies
Mm,
for weight loss. One that's really promising is a
mm,
peptide called semaglutide. It was originally designed for type 2 diabetes, recently
mm,
gotten an indication for obesity as well.
mm,
There's some clinical articles that are really, really compelling.
mm.
Very large studies that show that most patients, if they take this from 6 months to a year, they're losing anywhere from 10 to 20% of their body weight. And what we often see is when patients are losing weight, living a healthier lifestyle, their hormones then naturally become more balanced.
Mm. Ah, that's good. Wow. I'm so happy that, for the different questions that we've asked so far, or that I've asked so far, you were able to like give us like some kind of treatment or some kind of therapy that could help people, to move from that extreme, unhealthy way or situation or condition to becoming much more healthy using blood
Yes,
products and therapies also. But
right.
from your experience so far, are there like some treatments that have been overlooked and underutilized by men out there today?
Say that one more time. I'm sorry.
Yes, I said, from your experience so far, like are there like some treatments that are being overlooked or underlooked, or maybe underutilized by men today?
Yeah, I think there's a really what's the best way to describe it? There's a love-hate relationship in the medical community based around testosterone. And
Mm,
I think it's one of the best drugs for the aging individual for both men and women. And I think it's a completely overlooked prescription therapy that should be incorporated in many more men's and women's life. And I think a
mm,
lot of that revolves around the history of testosterone and guys that are, meatheads or muscle heads that were in the gym. I mean, the bodybuilder type scene, and that
mm,
that whole community has seen a really, really big negative impact for utilizing what I would call steroids, not testosterone replacement. Because
mm,
what we're doing is we're just replacing what we think should be there at an optimal level. We're not going any above. We're not going anywhere below. But
yeah.
I think the medical community is starting to learn the importance of hormones
Mm,
as we evolve and as we really study those, and as this whole anti-aging push evolves. And as
yeah.
we do that, I think we're going to see more and more hormone optimization. But I think it's an underlooked thing. I
Mm,
know a lot of physicians, a lot of typical medical clinics rarely even test for it. And I think that's I think that's doing a disservice to patients.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Wow. I mean, I'm sure there's a listener out there who has listened so far and it's like, yes, Josh, this is so awesome. But now you are operating in a telehealth space, basically. So can you explain, how this telehealth model is going to improve and evolve the healthcare experience altogether? How can we, gain trust how can we trust the system, the telehealth
Yeah.
model and telehealth system also?
Yeah. I think one big thing was COVID. I
Mm,
think if you look pre-COVID, telehealth was on the rise, but not as steadily or not as increasingly, aware of where we're at now. I think two
mm,
things are going to really help that process. One is awareness, and two is technology.
mm,
Now we have the likes of Zoom and all the type of video type applications that we can conduct one-on-one calls with physicians and nurse
mm,
practitioners. And as technology grows and as that trust grows, I think telehealth is just going to be used more and more. The reality
mm,
is, a lot of what physicians and nurse practitioners and physicians assistants do does not have to be in person. Some of it does. If it's an orthopedic style condition where you got to put your hands on the patient, that's one thing. But
mm,
if you and I are just talking and you have a cold or you have the flu or you have some type of ailment that we can just discuss and I can prescribe you a medication that can arrive at your doorstep, why wouldn't you take that ease? It's going to save you time. It's going to save the system money. And
mm.
you're going to get your medications just as you would have if you had to go out of your way to a brick and mortar style, physician office.
Yeah, yeah. That's very true. Ah, okay. Wow. That means we can rely on these services that telehealth companies like Block provides to us also,
Yeah,
and make use of them. And it's good. Would you say telehealth will one day replace the very typical and the classic health system that we have today?
I think it will. I think it will augment it. I don't think we'll ever replace hospitals. I don't think we'll ever replace emergency rooms. But
Mm,
I think there's a lot of things that do not need to be examined in a physical manner. And I
mm,
think you're going to see, if healthcare is a pie, and it where telehealth is a small sliver of it, I think you're going to see more and more practices adopting this technology
mm.
as we become more efficient. And I think that's a really good thing. I think
Yeah.
I think allowing patients the opportunity to own their own journey in terms of health at the ease of their home
Mhm.
is a really good thing. I mean, we've all been to the doctor. We've all
Yeah.
drove out of our way. We've all sat in a waiting room for 45 minutes. We've dealt with the
Mm,
hassles of scheduling. You know,
mhm.
that's it's not a pleasant experience when you're on the wrong side of that.
That's very true. That's very, very true. Wow. And yeah, so as a closing question, I would just love to ask for an advice from you as an entrepreneur that
Sure.
you are, successfully started this business already. What are some tips you could share with us out there in order to, successfully run a business and at the same time keep ourselves and our overall health, intact also and in shape also.
Yeah, I think it's taking accountability and owning that journey. I think if
Mm,
you're an entrepreneur and you're going the business route, you have to own your own training, you have to own your own education, you have to hold yourself accountable. And I think it's the same thing when it comes to your own individual health. I mean, health is
mm,
wealth, right? And
yes.
there's plenty of resources out there. Get
Mm,
multiple opinions, but if you can own that journey on your health experience, it's
mm,
just as important as it would be for an entrepreneur. So I tell everybody own your training, own your own education, own your
mm,
accountability, and if you
mm.
can do that, you're gonna drive your process further than you've ever driven that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thanks so much for sharing that. I mean, I really appreciate you being on this podcast today. Um, but there are a lot of people out there who might still want to have contact with you, for example, or maybe ask you some questions, probably work with you, find out more about blogs that we know, more than what we talked about right now. So, what's the best way to connect with you? What's the best way to work with you also?
Sure. It's simple. Go to our website, blogs, BLOKES not com, but .co.
Mm,
And go on there, familiarize yourself with hormone optimization, peptide therapy, and we will schedule. There's a schedule function. It's as easy as enter in your demographics. Our front desk team contacts you, get you on the schedule with our providers. Most patients can get an appointment and get their therapies within 1 to 2 weeks. And then we also have a women's line, which is Choose Joy, and that's CHOOSEJOI.co, which is another great site, good information, and the process is exactly the same. And I'm always available. If you find me on LinkedIn or Instagram, my email is josh@blogs.co.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Josh. I really appreciate the wonderful conversation we had. Thank you so much for enlightening us about, on men's health and the ways we could, bounce back from having gut issues or immune, health issues. Thank you so much. I really appreciate
You
this.
bet, Toby. Thank you so